Hello and welcome. You tune into Market Fatafat with me, Ankita Saxena, and with me as always is Snehi Shah. And this is the show where we take you through all the stocks that are in focus today, either on the back of news flow or on the back of technical charts. But first up, let's take stock of how the markets are shaping up. It's a good way to start the week, Snehi. In fact, we are up almost 0.6% on the Nifty, but the real cheer is coming in on Nifty Bank. That's
Absolutely.
up almost 2%. Cheered by the stellar results that Kotak Mahindra Bank posted, and that's really cheering the banking space.
Absolutely, like you summed it up, Nifty up 0.6%, but 0.8% higher from the day's lowest point. There's been a 180-point recovery coming in on the Nifty. Sensex also holding up pretty smartly, like Ankita mentioned. It's the day of the banks coming in, because not only Nifty Bank, you have Nifty PSU banks also that's up in a way in today's trading session. That entire sector in the green right now. India Wix is up 4%, but earlier in the day it was up 7%, so looking good on that front. And broader markets are also largely doing very well in today's trade. Quickly taking you through what the sectoral gainers and losers are looking like right now. PSU banks followed by Nifty Bank, Metal, Media, Realty, Energy, Pharma. These are your top leaders. IT, however, has slipped into the red, so that's something to watch out about. That's joining Auto and FMCG that have been in the red from the start of the day. But that's what the market is shaping up like. Nifty Bank, 800 points recovery from the day's lowest points, looking very good for that index today.
Alright, so that's how the market is shaping up. Well, let's get on board now. Sameet Chavan, who's the head of research, technical and derivative from Angel One, joining us on the technical charts. And from our research team, we are joined by Gaurav. Hi, good afternoon to both of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's get started with all the stocks that are in focus today. First up is, of course, Kalyan Jewellers. That one is soaring away. It was up almost 9% in morning trade today after the asset manager Motilal Oswal AMC issued a clarification on its investments in the jewelry maker, responding to the rumors circulating on the social media. The Motilal Oswal Asset Management Company is, in a statement, denied the allegation over its fund managers being involved in the bribery scheme to stock up on the share of Kalyan Jewellers, calling them baseless, malicious, defamatory allegations. Now, they also said that they categorically deny the baseless, malicious, and all of these allegations circulating on social media against the company, and also they said that the baseless acquisitions are being deliberately said in an attempt by individuals with vested interest to malign the good reputation of their firm and leadership that they have built over the decades. That's the word coming in from Motilal Oswal AMC. The asset manager also urged people not to believe these baseless and unethical attempts to spread misinformation. And on the back of that, we saw a jump up in Kalyan Jewellers today. Currently, it has given up those morning gains, but nonetheless, trading with gains of 6.8% right now.
Looking very strong today after a series of cuts coming in for Kalyan Jewellers. Looking good. Sameet, coming to you. Good afternoon. You've picked out Bajaj Finance on the charts for us. While it's doing pretty well in today's trade, last 6 months, last 1 year, it's given single-digit positive gains. Tell us what's the outlook going ahead, and do you see this stock picking up some steam now?
Good afternoon. At least it looks encouraging. Recently, we saw some consolidation in this counter, and every dip is getting bought into. So recently, the stock was clearly bucking the trend, and since morning we are seeing good traction in this counter. Stock has already bumped up, from its important support level, has now broken above 7,400. So once the stock surpasses next cluster of 7,500, 7,550, you could see the stock heading towards 7,700 plus levels. So overall, at least the kind of price and volume activity that we have been witnessing this morning, it looks quite encouraging.
Charts is Bajaj Finance. Let's move on. Talk about a stock that's up and away and locked in upper circuit today, and that's Vodafone Idea. Because shares of Vodafone Idea are locked in upper circuit, the uptick in the stock price followed reports that the central government is considering a potential partial waiver of AGR dues, which could reduce the liability of both Bharti Airtel and Vodafone Idea by 38,000 crores and 52,000 crores respectively. Now, according to the report, relief might be announced as early as Feb 1, which is the union budget, and the government is considering a waiver of penalty interest component of the AGRs as well. Telcos had reached out to the government previously to seek relief after the Supreme Court rejected the curative plea for recomputation of AGR demand in September of last year. And Vodafone Idea's AGR dues are likely around 80,000 crore rupees. So this waiver, if it actually happens, and this relief is going to be a big one coming in for Vodafone Idea. And on the back of this speculation and the hope that this does come true and is announced in the budget, the stock is locked up in upper circuit, 10% higher today.
Alright, moving on from Vodafone Idea that's locked in the upper circuit to Voltas. Sameet, you figured out Voltas for us. Today it is down and out 3% in trade. But Voltas, in the last 1 month has been in a corrective phase. Going forward, what are the levels that you're penciling in for the stock?
stock has been in a downward trend since last 3 to 4 months. Recently, we saw consolidation in this counter, followed by a breakdown, a couple of weeks back. And since last 4 or 5 trading sessions, this stock was oscillating around its crucial support of 200 a simple moving average place around 1600. Today, with this cut, stock has now tanked below its important support of 200 a simple moving average, and now the stock would challenge its next support cluster of 1480, 1450. So overall, the trend remains negative. Any bounce back is likely to get sold into. On the upside now, 1650, 1700 would act as a very strong resistance.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Voltas, looking decent on the charts. Gaurav, coming to you, you've picked out IOB. We've seen numbers trickling in just a few hours ago. Tell us what the Q3 numbers look like, because the stock is reacting very positively.
Well, yes, when we talk about IOB, we are seeing some very strong set of numbers from the bank. So let's talk about the numbers first. Net interest income increased almost by 16%, while PPOP, which is pre-provision operating profit, increased almost by 27%. On the other hand, when we move to profitability, there also we saw a jump of around 20% on a year-on-year basis. And that is not it. There is another news flow. When we talk about provisions, the bank have now reduced the provision. Provisions have gone down almost by 10% sequentially, and as a result, when we talk about gross NPS and net NPS, there also we saw an improvement. Gross NPS improved almost by 17 basis points, while net NPS improved almost by 15 basis points on a sequential basis. When we talk about advances growth, that is up almost by 9%, while deposits grew only by 6.5%. But let's not forget that PSU banks have high LDR, and that is the reason it won't be a constraint for banks' loan book growth. And as a result, when we talk about stock performance, also it is up more than 4.5%. So on back of the good set of numbers for third quarter, we are watching out on Indian Overseas Bank.
Moving on, then it's time for us to slip into a short break. But before that, ahead of the Union Budget 2025 on the 1st of February, Divya Baveja partner Deloitte India Personal Tax talks about the tax reforms the government could consider implementing. Well, one of the key reforms to I will be related to the simplification of tax procedures. Let's go across and listen into what she had to say.
We know 1st Feb is around the corner, and the budget is to be announced by the Finance Minister. Like every year, there are expectations that people have from the current budget, especially where individual taxpayers are concerned, whether it is in the context of simplification of procedures or processes, such as revising in timelines for the filing of the belated or the revised return, especially in cases where the foreign tax credits are to be taken, or it is in the context of non-residents where there are tax payments from overseas accounts or tax refunds into overseas accounts. Insofar as policies are concerned, I think it's important to see some long pending demands, such as taking treaty relief at the withholding stage. Of late, we have seen a lot of focus on hybrid or electric cars. There's the time to come out with the valuation requirements for these, insofar as taxability on individuals is concerned. So let's see what's in store for us and see what the expectations of common man are met or not in the current budget. So all eyes on 1st of Feb.
Hi there, welcome back to Market Fatafat. Thanks so much for staying tuned to ET. Now, let's keep it going with all the big buzzers in today's trade. And while speaking of big buzzers, we have to address Wipro, because a very strong set of numbers being reported on the from the company. The stock is up 6% today. But while those are the fundamentals, Sameet, you've picked out Wipro on the charts for us. Last 1 year has given a 27-30% return on the stock. Tell us what kind of levels are you watching for the stock going ahead? How are the charts looking like?
See, within the IT space alone, we are seeing some divergent moves in individual stocks. If you see, TCS is moving toward its lowest point of the day. Coforge, some of the mid-cap IT names are down. But Wipro is the one stock that has given stellar move, already 6% up today. And this particular stock has rebounded from its important support cluster, which is the 89-day exponential moving average, placed around 285. So now going ahead, 280.85 would act as a sheet anchor for this counter, and once this stock surpasses 305, you could see a short-term breakout happening in this counter, and then probably this particular stock can head towards 322 or 330 also. So overall chart structure as of now looks quite encouraging. About 395, this stock would confirm its break.
Right, that is Wipro on the charts, and of course in focus on the back of the strong set of results that it has posted. But moving on to another counter that is an earnings candidate, and that's Paytm, where the company's net loss has narrowed to 208 crores in Q3 of FY25 as compared to 219 crores on a year-on-year basis. Well, the consolidated revenue from operations fell 36% on a year-on-year basis to 1,828 crores, down 2,851 crores in the quarter 3 of FY24. This is on a sequential basis, and if you talk about the sequential basis, the company's revenue rose 10%, supported by a rise in gross merchandise value, or the GMV, good growth in subscription revenues, and higher revenue from distribution of financial services. Well, the company says that they have been able to reduce their indirect costs by 7% on a sequential basis and 23% on a year-on-year basis to 1,000 crore rupees. And going forward, they expect calibrated growth in marketing costs and sales employees expenses as they invest in customer and merchant acquisition. The employee cost, excluding the ESOP for 9-month FY25, is lower by 451 crore rupees on a year-on-year basis and will comfortably surpass their target of annualized people cost saving of 400 to 500 crore rupees. Paytm also noted that it did not receive any UPI incentive during the quarter, and on the back of this result, Paytm is in focus today, trading in the green right now.
Lowdown on why Paytm is in focus today. Before we move on, let's just address the flash on the bottom of the screen. Nazara Tech is the stock that's in focus. We understand that there's been an open offer to acquire 2.4 crore shares of the company, and this is done by Axana Estates and Plutus. They've made an open offer to acquire 26% stake in the company at an offer price for 990 rupees per share. The stock is already at 1,071 and it's surging away. A 5% uptick coming in on Nazara Tech on the back of that news flow. But let's on that note, I'm afraid we're completely timed out on this edition of Market Fatafat. Sameet and Gaurav, thanks so much for joining us. But on that note, we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.